Welcome to the Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health podcast. I'm Atla, medical astrologist, astroherbalist, and green witch. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 19, and I was told I would never have children. I healed my body through the power of herbs, alternative health practitioners, energy healing, and more. At 28, I had the baby they said I would never have, without any interventions. I refused to believe that my body was not able to heal itself. Along this journey, I stumbled across medical astrology, and it resonated with me so much. I started down the path to learning this unique system that had been used for thousands of years in the medical community. I now help other women heal their bodies using their cosmic blueprint, the unique blueprint that every person has embedded in their DNA from the stars. This system helps me see what's going on in your body on a cosmic level and exactly how to help you give your body what it needs to heal itself. We are all uniquely and amazingly designed, and when we learn to work with our design, love ourselves for how we are designed to function, and integrate the cosmos into our lives, I truly believe that we can see true and lasting health brought into our lives. If you are ready to change your life, heal your body, and learn to deeply love who you are, this podcast is for you. Come join me as I discuss medical astrology, astronutrition, astroherbalism, health, wellness, spirituality, transformation, and so much more. I'm so excited you are joining me. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. I'm Atla, your host. This is just a quick update on the rest of December, and I wanted to make it in a separate episode because I wanted to not interfere with the planet series that I am doing and get in the way of you getting that information. So let's talk about how the rest of December is going to look. I have decided to take the last 3 weeks of December off. So starting on Sunday the 10th through the 31st, first maybe. We'll see how I'm feeling after the 31st of January. I will be off. There will be no podcast episodes released. There may or may not be newsletters. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do that. But for the most part, I'm taking a break. I will be away from the podcast. There will be no episodes released. It will be taking time off to spend with my family, enjoy the holidays. We have between now and the end of December for us, we have Yule, we have our wedding anniversary, we celebrate several birthdays, and then we have New Year's. And we have to get several of our children to other parents for the holidays, which involves a lot of traveling and flying and crazy schedules, right? So this is the time of year that I personally, winter starts on the 21st. My body goes into some type of like hibernation mode come like as soon as winter solstice hits. It's like my body just knows like we're now in winter. And I don't have a lot of energy this time of year. My energy really finally starts ramping up again come like mid-February when we're getting closer to like spring, and then late February it gets higher, and by March I'm like much better. That being said, I am not taking off from the podcast all the way until March. I love this podcast. I love helping y'all. I love talking to y'all, and I don't want to miss out on months and months of doing this because I love it. But I do need a break from a lot of things. My business has been going really well this year, which I am so grateful for, and I feel so honored that so many people want to come and get my assistance on helping them. But I put a lot of energy and time and effort into my readings, into my clients, into helping and healing and all of that stuff, and it takes a lot out of me, y'all, like a lot. I don't say this often, and I don't wanna sound like I'm complaining about it, right? But it is exhausting for me. I have not been as good on self-care as I should have been in these last few months, especially we've had a lot of life changes that I was not expecting and wrenches thrown into plans. Um, that has backset me a little bit, and my energy levels are actually lower now than they usually are this time of year, and so I have decided that I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna spend time with my family. I'm going to redo my self-care. I'm going to recoup my energy. The most that I will be doing is possibly, like I said, putting out the newsletter once a week. Otherwise, I may take a break from that too. We will see. I'm going to be spending time with my family. I will, any current clients I have going on, I'm not going to ignore y'all. Don't worry about that. I will definitely, though, be scaling back on that. If you absolutely need me, there's ways in the client portal that I have mentioned already to get a hold of me. Otherwise, though, we are going to enjoy a nice 3 weeks of much needed time off. Um, I will probably work on some back end things that need to be done because, unfortunately, just because I want to take an entire 3 weeks off, some things still do need to be done on the back end, right? There's a few things I need to update and get ready for, like tax season and things like that for my accountant. Um, so that will be done, whether again I want to or not. I will probably be close to 100% off social media. If you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, um, any of that, I my current plan is to delete them off of my phone so that I have to literally pull out my computer to look at that stuff, and that's just too much of a pain in the ass, y'all. So I probably will not be doing it. I'm going to take a break from like everything. I've decided that this is what my body needs. My spirit guides are pushing for it. I've had a lot of input from them over the last like week. Oh my god, it's been crazy, y'all. My husband has not been well either. He's been a little sick, and I've been dealing with that. And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but my voice is not feeling super well right now either today when I'm recording this. So, yeah, I'm going to listen to my body. I recommend that you all do this too, as much as you can, to whatever extent you can. Listen to your bodies this holiday season. There is no need to rush yourself into illness. Take breaks, do your self care still, sit down and rest when your body is demanding it, and just reconnect with yourself, with spirit, with the universe, and just take time out, right? These holidays can feel really stressful, but a lot of times that's us putting the stress on ourselves needlessly. If you don't get everybody 500 presents that you usually get them because you didn't have the energy or the time to go out sourcing all of this stuff and wrapping it all, then don't. No one is going to be upset. And if they are, then that's on them and not on you. You are not responsible for other people's reactions to you taking time to rest and do what you need for your body, right? That's a them thing, and you just need to feel at peace with your decision. We don't need to do 500 holiday parties. You don't need to go to all of the things that are happening in town. You know what our one thing is that we do every year, and that's it for this holiday season? We make hot chocolate, we get in the car, and we drive around town and we look at all the light decorations. Sometimes we will go to an actual light display where it's like you either walk through or drive through in your car. But for the most part, we just drive around town and see who's put up lights, right? Here where we are currently, there's like a resort here, and they apparently have like a light show that they put on every night that it's free. You can just walk through. So we might go do that this year. But that's it. That's like really all we do. And then we spend more time just spending time together as a family. I highly encourage you to find something this year that makes you feel good and not stressed out, and do that. I don't care what it is, what kind of self-care it is. If again, it's just not going over and above so much in the holiday celebration. I know I love this time of year too, from Samhain until, December 31st. I am all in for all of these celebrations that we celebrate in our lives personally and all these other things. It's great, it's fun, it's enjoyable. We get to see a lot more of our families that maybe we don't get to see throughout the year. So I get it. It's hard to prioritize sometimes. But I encourage you, I'm pushing you this year to really prioritize you and your self care and your mental health and your stress levels, right? Over everything else. You will never go wrong ever by putting yourself ahead of some of these holiday celebrations that have become very overdone, stressful situations for no other reason than it's some, quote unquote tradition. You can make new traditions. Traditions are literally just honoring dead people that started these things that aren't here anymore. They don't care if you don't go and do your Elf on the Shelf or whatever. They don't care, right? The dead people that started half of these things that we continue in our families for whatever reason don't care if you're continuing to do them. Pick a tradition that works best for you. Take some time off, relax, sitting around in your pajamas. Don't go to all the holiday things, right? So, recap, I will be off the next 3 weeks. The podcast will not be out the last 3 weeks of December. The first episode to come back will be around like January 4th, potentially January 11th, depending on how I'm feeling in that time frame. But sometime early January, the podcast will be back. Like I said, I may or may not be putting out newsletters during this time. And I will be spending very minimal time, if any at all, on social media. So if you follow me on there, you're not probably going to hear much from me, and that's okay. So do what you can to enact your self care. Take care of yourselves. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. It's been a fantastic year. In fact, let me just recap how fantastic of a year it has been. Um, got my Spotify Wrapped the other day that talks about all of the progress that like the podcast has made this year, and it made me cry. So thank you for all of my listeners. I am so grateful for all of you and what you do, and the fact that you choose to come back time and again and listen to my podcast when there is so many fucking podcasts out there. Because let's be honest, there is so many podcasts. It is so easy to, just listen to another one. And so I really appreciate that you come and you listen to mine. You have made this year absolutely, utterly fantastic. Podcast has grown exponentially, which makes me so happy. So yeah, let me go over this with you because it's amazing and I absolutely love it. So, the 2023 Spotify Wrapped. Sorry, I'm pulling up the thing and it's taking a second to load. So, my top episode this year was, drum roll please, episode 42, which was Medical Astrology 101, Leo. So apparently there's a lot of Leos out there that have been listening to this podcast, or you have a Leo in your life. So that was episode number 1 out of all of my episodes. It was streamed 239% more than all my other episodes. Woohoo! So thank you so much for that. That makes me happy to hear it. I have gotten some new fans this year. 89% of my listeners, all of y'all, discovered me in 2023 and started listening. So thank you for that. 8% of my new listeners came from that Medical Astrology 101 Leo episode. So that's cool to know and exciting. I went global, which I have been global, but again, apparently I went more global. I've been streamed consistently in 5 countries, and Australia was my top country with 42% of the total streams. So thank you, all of you down under listeners. This is fantastic. I didn't realize I was such a big deal in Australia, but that makes me happy. So thank you for listening. In order of the most new listeners per country, number 1 was the US, which makes sense because that's where I am. Number 2 was Australia. Thank you. And number 3 was the United Kingdom, which also makes sense. I have a lot of friends in the UK, probably because my husband's from there. I don't know. But, anyways, yeah. So that was awesome. Those are the top 3 in order. Let's see what else this has to say. The top podcast genres that brought people into my podcast were religion and spirituality, health and fitness, and then education. So that's good to know. Thank you, guys. And then as far as like people sharing my podcast, 50% that shared was from the direct link, 17% shared via Facebook, 11% via WhatsApp, 11% via Instagram, and then 11% via other what, and I don't know what they mean by other, so I guess other ways of sharing. But thank you so much for sharing my podcast so much with other people that have made. I'm glad my podcast episode has episodes and podcasts in general has made it so you want to share it with other people. As far as growth overall, I had an increase of 787% of streams overall, an increase of 457% in my overall listeners, a 245% increase in followers, and I created 286% more minutes of content than I did last year. So this year, for my biggest fans, I am a top 10 podcast for 26 of you, which is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm a top 5 podcast for 20 of you. Thank you. That's awesome as well. And drum roll, please. I am a number 1 podcast for 7 of you, which is fucking amazing. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening. Like, I don't think you understand how happy this makes me. My biggest wound in my life, right? Like the wounded healer, my Chiron, is about people not actually caring or wanting to hear anything I have to say. And so having this podcast has been so helpful in healing that, because obviously y'all want to hear what I say, and that makes me so happy. I don't even know 90% of you, more than likely. I know a few of my friends who definitely listen to this and like family members that tune in. But for the most part, I don't know any of you personally, and for you to want to continue to listen to a stranger every day, I guess not every day, every week that I release these is just so fucking like amazing to me, and it's unreal and surreal, and it just really cements in my brain, instead of the fact that no one wants to hear me, that there are people in other countries and other places in the world that I have never been that want to hear me, and it is so helpful to healing that wound. So thank you. 85% of my listeners joined me for the first time this year. So thank you. Thank you for coming in and showing up. I appreciate that as well. I am so glad that you guys are here. And in fact, in the last like 2 days, I've gotten 3 more followers. So thank you, new followers. That's so amazing. I am super excited for all of that. And apparently, overall, in case y'all didn't know this, because you know from listening, I like to talk. I created 1.5 thousand minutes of content this year for this podcast. That is 25 hours of content, y'all. 25 hours of content. What the fuck? When I looked at that, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Last year, in contrast, last year I did 495 minutes of content. So I literally doubled, more than doubled, 2.5 times my content this year. Some of that was obviously with my guests, right? And I do 1 guest a month usually, and that episodes average out to about an hour each usually. So if you take those, this came out at the end of November, so it missed my last podcast guest. So that was 10 guests that it counted in this Spotify Wrapped. So that was 10 hours of that. The rest of that was just me jabbering away to y'all. And yes, I appreciate it so much that you want to tune in and listen to this. Makes me happy. Thank you guys so much for listening, for making this an amazing year, for making my podcast one of your top 10 or top 5 or top podcast. I just cannot tell you how happy this makes me. Hopefully you can hear it in my voice since you can't see me, but it's fucking amazing. You all rock. I have some things planned and coming up for the podcast in the new year that are going to rock. I am super fucking excited about. 2024 is going to be lit, y'all. It's just going to be lit. We're going to have a year together, and I am excited. So thank you again so much for joining me. Thank you for making this podcast everything that it is. And here is to rocking 2024 out and making it even better. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great holiday season. You can always reach out to me at email info@alllllll.com. Even when I'm off, I will still be checking that. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again so much. I love you all. Love and light. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it. You can find all relevant links to today's show in the show notes below. If you loved the show today, please subscribe, follow, and leave me a review. I love to hear your thoughts, and it helps me know what is a hit and to make more of that content, especially for you. If you want to learn more about me and how I can help you, head over to alllllll.com. There you can sign up for a medical astrology package, download my free sun sign and your health ebook, read the blog, and so much more. If you want to connect more outside the podcast, follow my Instagram channel at alllll'astrology or join my Astro Connection community, the link to which you can find in the show notes. Until next time, love and light.